All right, viewers, the news and updates coming in from New York. Turkey's President Recep Erdogan has stated that he's pleased with the results of the meeting that happened between Muslim leaders and US President Donald Trump. The meeting was held on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly to discuss the ongoing war and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Trump has emphasized that the conflict has lasted too long and has called for an end. The meeting also focused on securing the return of hostages taken by Hamas. Leaders from Qatar, Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan, Indonesia, Egypt and the UAE as well as Saudi Arabia participated in the discussions. Listen in to what Trump had to say.
So this is going to be a very important meeting. It's going to be a meeting with great leaders from a very important part of our planet, the Middle East, and we want to end the war in Gaza. We're going to end it. We're going to end it. Back and get the war over and get back to life in the Middle East, which is a beautiful life, but it's much more beautiful without wars, right?
Joining us on the broadcast is Matty Zweig, geopolitical expert, live from Tel Aviv. Thank you for taking out time speaking to us on NewsX World. Interesting meeting has taken place on the sidelines of the UNGA. Donald Trump had spoken for nearly 57 minutes, well past his 15-minute allotted time, where he highlighted extensively upon the alliance that the United States has with Arab nations in the Gulf. He then also went on to speak about Israel and the fact that the United States is backing Israel and will continue to do so. He slammed European nations who have recognized Palestine as well, stating that this gives an advantage to Hamas. Now, of course, this meeting has taken place where Trump has met with different leaders from Muslim countries. Where do you think the war will be heading next? Because we have seen the United Nations come and point out that there is a famine taking place on ground in Gaza as well. The humanitarian situation is getting dire day by day, and the families of hostages as well. They're also out on the streets within Israel, urging Netanyahu to ensure that this does not escalate any further.
Well, hello, Pia, and thank you for having me. I would say that we are talking about all the points, but the main thing here is that in the last time, Trump has been very critical, as Israel as well, from the UN, from the one-sided view of all the conflicts and all the war. And now, what you say sidelined, it's not sidelined. It's a very important meeting that Trump held it in the UN, and showing himself, sorry for saying that, a little bit more as a star than the UN Secretary Guterres. And what you see there is that the most important powers of the Muslim countries, like from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Indonesia, Turkey, and others, Emirates, they were all together listening to Trump. It means they look at Trump as the real #1 leader in this moment, for good and bad. It doesn't matter if they also, on the side, they talk about tariffs or other things, but his message was very important for them, and it was very important for them to be united and together in this moment. And this is very important because if you listen between the lines, you have a president like the president of Indonesia, Prabowo, that he say that this conflict must end, even with a two-state solutions or other, but having in consideration all the security problems that Israel have, and it must be also defended in a future agreement. This is very important. This is the most, the biggest Muslim country in the world with more than 120 million people, which still doesn't have official relations with Israel, but they have a lot of commercial relations under the radar. And this is also to show that something is moving. Something also is going to be a second step for this next week when Trump is going to meet Netanyahu in the US. And I think it's a very positive message in general in the midst of all these problems and the ongoing war and the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and despite what had happened in the last week, that is the continuation of Israel attacking and taking some strongholds and places in Gaza in order to make weaker Hamas and to meet their demands of freeing the hostages and dismantling themselves. And from the other side, with a divided Europe, having some kind of declaration about a future Palestine state, which in this moment is not real because they have no boundaries, no limits, no borders, no clear leadership, which is split in several parts from Gaza and the West Bank. So everything, it's like the only consistent voice in this moment is Trump and his efforts to go forward for some kind of peace in the future.
All right, so I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking further updates.